start with a video that I thought of while I was on my last Disney trip, and that was my top 10 don't forget these items for your trip to Disney World. So there are tons of lists out there on Pinterest, just on Google, on blogs, websites, message boards, and I'm not saying my list is any better. But I thought I would put mine out there. And so this is not an exhaustive list. There are tons of other things you should pack, but some of these are things that I think are super important or I think are easy to overlook or forget. And yeah, so there's 10 things. Let's get started. So number 1 is sunscreen and aloe. So I feel like this is a given, but it is so important. I don't care who you are, what your skin type is, you should be using sunscreen while you're in Disney World. Everybody can burn, and even if you don't burn, you can still damage your skin. It might take longer for your skin to get damaged, like if you have more melanin in your skin than say a very, very pale French Canadian American like myself, but like you will still damage your skin. And more than the burn protection, which yes, you don't want to burn while you're in Disney World because then you're just going to be uncomfortable, you don't want to damage your skin long term. And I don't just mean like aesthetically so you look good in the future. I mean like you don't want skin cancer, so try and do your best to prevent it. So, and then I think aloe is great. I actually don't burn very easily, but I just take some aloe in like a little toiletry, like 3-ounce container with me just to have it, just in case I need it, because it is better than having to go look for it or having to pay Disney park prices for something like that. Also, pack more sunscreen than you think you will ever need, because it's better to have too much than not enough. And bring sunscreen in your park bag. Just saying. Just in case you need it. Oh, and if you're a guy, especially if you have short hair or you're balding, wear a hat or make sure you put sunscreen on your head, because a burnt head is an uncomfortable head. And while I have never been bald, I have gotten a sunburn on my part before, and that hurt. It hurt to shower, it hurt to brush my hair, it hurt to touch my hair. I cannot imagine that being my whole head. So look out for your head. Also, if you're a girl and you don't have a lot of hair, same thing. I shouldn't have judged. Number 2 is good shoes. Personally, I am a sneakers all the way kind of a person in Disney World. I know there are people who wear like sandals and stuff, and God bless you. I cannot do that. But whatever you do, make sure you have good, well broken in shoes that you know you can walk in. Because you do not want a blister, you do not want to have like a hot spot or just like a weird like rub, or get like, most likely you're going to be walking more than you do normally in your life, so your feet are going to ache anyways. We'll talk about that a little bit more later, but having something that supports you is so important. Relatedly, the other thing I would recommend is good socks. So obviously if you're wearing sandals, you're probably not wearing socks, but if you wear sneakers like me, I think high performance socks are a great thing to buy. So yeah, they may not be the cutest pair of socks in the world, but they're going to be great for your feet. So I personally will buy like a high endurance, made for working out, walking, running sock. They usually have a thicker cushion. They're usually made of materials that breathe and wick sweat, so that you don't have that kind of a problem going on. And I definitely can feel the extra cushion, especially in my arch. My arch is kind of funky and gets irritated easily, so I like giving it extra support. I will say my parents swear by wool socks. If I can figure out which ones they buy, I will link them below. They are expensive. Like I bought 3 pairs for my dad for Christmas one year and they were like 60 bucks. But he swears by them and says that they are the best thing. His feet do so much better in Disney with these socks. So, you know. Next is a sweater and or a scarf. So sweater, sweatshirt, something like that. I don't care what time of year you're going to Disney World, I highly recommend having something that can be an extra layer. I like to travel with a scarf so that I can use it on the plane if I need it as like a blanket, and it's an easy thing to like wrap myself up in the parks. But also, even if it's the summer, so you're like, well, it's never going to be cold enough outside. True, it's probably never going to be cold enough outside, but it might be cold inside. So I find, especially for people who aren't from more tropical or warm climates like Florida it is, tends to feel very cold in the air conditioning. And air conditioning can be very biting because it's taking the moisture out of the air as well. So it's even colder than that same temperature would feel with that moisture in the air. Now, I have low blood pressure and I have blood circulation issues, so I get cold very easily. But I still think that this is something you should definitely have, because there's nothing like being in a sit-down attraction, like maybe one of the shows, and you're there for 30 or 40 minutes and you start to get really, really cold. Or you're in a restaurant eating a meal and you're getting cold. So it's just better, in my opinion, to just have a little sweater or something that you can throw on to keep yourself a little bit warmer and more comfortable. Next may be a little weird, but I changed this up a few trips ago and it changed my life. And that is breathable or like cotton underwear. Listen, we all sweat. If you don't sweat at all, you should probably go see a doctor. But oh my gosh, having a nice breathable underwear while you're walking around in the parks is just great. Also, if you make sure all your clothes are breathable, like I tend to wear workout leggings while I'm in the park because they're designed to be worn while you're sweating and exerting yourself, and they have a breathability and a sweat wicking feature so that I am more comfortable, and then sweat's not pooling anywhere on my body, which can lead to chafing or just like uncomfortableness. Blah. So that's definitely a must-do. Number 6 is Ziploc bags. Specifically, I mean just like any clear, these just happen to be here. These were not a prop. I was packing things in them, but bag. I would recommend multiple sizes. I usually do the snack size, quart size, and gallon size. So, of course, if you were flying on a plane, most likely you're going to have quart size Ziploc bags. I highly recommend bringing extras in case something happens. I also have like airline TSA approved bags that are more like structured that I use, but I think these are great specifically for when you're going into the parks. So if you are going to be bringing a bag, which most people do, then what I recommend doing is in your bag is packing things in something like a Ziploc bag, or I have those other bags. Like, actually, one second, let me go grab you one. So I had 2 of these in my park bag every single day. So one was like my medical bag, so I kept like sunscreen, meds, hair ties, lotion, those kinds of things. And then I had one that was technology, so that's where I kept my extra batteries, my extra SD cards, my portable charger, all of those things. First of all, I'm a huge fan of like compartmentalizing your packing. I think it just makes it easier when you're going around and looking for things. But the really nice thing about the clear stuff is it makes security so much better. So I used to just use makeup bags because I had a ton. And then I was going through security at Animal Kingdom years ago, and there was a woman in front of me and she had a huge backpack and it was full of like gallon-sized Ziploc bags with stuff. And the security guard said to her, "Thank you, that's so helpful." And I said to myself, "File that away, Holly, file that away." And so now I keep everything in clear bags so that security can easily see what's in all of my bags. And things are protected a little. I mean, they're not waterproof, but they're definitely going to protect you from a little bit of rain or a water ride if they're in a bag. So I highly recommend that. I think it makes security so much easier. First, because you're compartmentalizing things, so there's not like a ton of loose things for security to go through, but also they can see exactly what is in your like bags and containers. Next is all the medicine. So of course, if you have any prescriptions, take your prescriptions, take them in the prescription bottle. If you can, just to avoid any issues with security or anything like that. If you have a prescription, you really should be carrying it around in the prescription bottle. But I would highly recommend bringing other medicines too. So things like a pain reliever of choice. I take a leave, so I bring generic leave because I'm cheap, but that's what I bring. I also will always pack Pepto-Bismol. I never use Pepto at home, but I like to have it just in case you're traveling, you're somewhere different, things are stressed. I'll also a lot of times bring Imodium because it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So stuff like that. I will bring Mucinex in case I get a cold. You can buy Mucinex there. I've done it, but that crap's expensive. So just bringing stuff like that and making sure you basically have a mini pharmacy is really important. Oh, and if you are a lady, I would highly recommend bringing stuff in case you get your period while you're on vacation. I don't care if you don't think you're gonna get it. You never know with air travel and stress and things like that if something might get thrown off. So I think it's better to just be prepared, but that's me. Next is related, and that is band-aids and blister care. So bring band-aids, just like general band-aids, and then I recommend either blister band-aids or moleskin or something like that. I will say, like, my dad, blister band-aids sit on him all week. For me, I have to replace them every couple of days, but I think that's really important to have. And again, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Next is a lacrosse ball or a tennis ball if you want, but I think a lacrosse ball is best. And what I do is I bring my lacrosse ball and I put it in my fridge. A freezer would be better, but if you're not staying at like a DVC resort, you probably don't have a freezer. And what I do is when I get back to my hotel every night is I take the lacrosse ball out, I put it on the ground, and I roll my feet out. So I do dance, and that is where I got this. But a few years ago on my trip, I actually had a huge problem with plantar fasciitis, and doing this along with some other footwork at home has really helped me heal that. But I do still get a lot of like tension and stress in my feet, especially in my arches, and being able to just roll them out with the ball, all you do is just like kind of step on it and just like move your foot around it, get your like toes under there. It feels good. My dad will just fill the bathtub up with cold water and get a couple buckets of ice and then soak his feet for like 10 minutes every night, and he loves that. I think that's good too. I don't feel the need to do that personally, but my lacrosse ball is definitely a game changer, and honestly they're not that expensive. You can get them at Dick's for a couple bucks. And finally, and probably the most important thing you should bring, other than sunscreen might be the most important thing you should bring, is your patience. Please, I know it is a corny thing to say, but please pack your patience. Yes, you may be going on this huge once-in-a-lifetime vacation. I hope it's not a once-in-a-lifetime vacation. I hope you fall in love and you're able to come back multiple times. But no matter what, you are not the only one going on this huge once-in-a-lifetime vacation. And you're not going to be able to do everything, and somebody's probably going to cut in front of you in line or is not going to pay attention. They might hit you with their stroller, or your kid might run in front of somebody with a scooter and then you might get mad even though your kid was wrong, or whatever. Everybody is going to do something to bother somebody. But the best way to make your trip better is to just be patient, be forgiving, and move on. It is not worth the added stress and negativity on your vacation. You will never see these people again, but that is not an excuse to act like a jerk. And if you are a better person, if you are nice and kind and polite and say please and thank you and excuse me and sorry, even if you are not the one in the wrong, trust me, you'll be a happier person, and then hopefully your positivity will spread to other people. So it is so important to pack your patience. Seriously, most important thing. So those are the things that I think you should not forget to pack when you are going to Disney World. If you have anything that you think I forgot that's like a super important thing, leave it down in the comments below, and I will see you later with another video. Bye!